Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is me again, Insane Gorilla here, and hopefully you guys like this part. This is what if Asta had a twin sister and they both were the kids of igneel. And like I said in last one, I'd find an image of Asta with a wing, but I found Natsu instead. But I think it sort of gives off the vibe that I was trying to give. And that is not. Well, the wing does happen, the arm. Well, the arm doesn't, nor does the leg. Yet. And, yeah, where we last left off, Noelle quit the Black Balls, but Asta detected that she wasn't fully quitting. She was going to try and practice her mana. And so after he had the tour with Magma, met up with Lucy to see how her tour went with everybody else. And she said it was alright. Quite a few of them are actually really decent people. And yeah. Asta says, okay then, I'm just going to explore a bit more. And walks off. Explores the rest of the Black Ball's hideout. Meets the creatures in Yami's basement, which they usually are very, very aggressive if you actually watch the anime and read the manga. They are usually very aggressive. But when Asta actually does walk in there, he does get greeted by them, teeth blazing. And yeah. Okay, sorry about that. I had to pause to read up on my little oops that I made. Asta was already developing a small right wing. It was already starting to actually appear out of him. But it's rather small, so people don't really realize it. So, yeah. Sorry. I'm sort of kicking myself for that. And the reason why it is actually small, it is because Asta is actually walking past a few more flames and it's starting to slowly grow. It is slowly growing, it's just not growing to the fact where people can actually physically see it. But Asta does walk outside to see Noelle practicing and her cursing her brother, saying, I will show him that I am not weak. Like in canon, Asta snaps a twig, Noelle freaks out, and throws a water bomb at him, or one of her water attacks. So yeah, everything happens in canon. She gets stuck. Yami throws him up. Asta actually uh, does something to get her out of the water, and they end up back on the ground. Yami goes gambling with Magma. A few hours later, in canon, they come back. And now they have to go and kill some boars for the village chief. Diversion in the story this time, because now it's going to be Magma, Noel, and Lucy. And yeah, they go to the village, do all what the village elder needs, and they start walking back. And due to Asta being so bloody strong, he carries all of the boars. Now, this is when the fog turns up, and Natsu actually sniffs this fog, and he can smell that it's all mana based, and there's actually quite a bit of blood within. So he tells Magma that they need to hurry to the village because he believes something may have gone wrong. And Lucy backs him up, saying, "Yeah, something is wrong. This fog is not natural; it's made." And this is where they get to the top of the hill after ditching all the boars. Well, after ditching all the boars, to see the fog enveloping the entire village. Magma being Magma, pissed, and says, "Alright, we're going in there to find out what the hell's going on." Well, just thinks to herself about something we don't know. I'm just going to say like she's thinking of something. But god damn it, she can't keep her eyes off of our boy Asta and his bloody muscles. Because let's say this, she hasn't kept her eyes off of his muscles ever since that she first saw him. So yeah. And they actually go to the village. Asta actually has his eyes change into his heat seeking ones, like he did in the second video. He has them change and he walks through the village with Magma, Noel, and Lucy bringing up the rear. Not in that way, you guys. So you have that sort of mindset. And yeah, you know what? Screw it. Magma's going to be at the back, watching everybody's backs. That sounds even worse, but hey. But Lucy's going to be next to her brother. And just like the second and the second and the 2.5 part that I've done, Lucy doesn't like Magma. To her, he's too much of a creep. Anyway, they eventually reach the center of the village to find the village chief being, well, on the ground, bleeding. And all the villagers crowding around him with 4 people standing up to 4 bandit mages or rogue knights. I think they're just rogue mages, saying we'll take everything that this village owns. Maybe 4 kids step aside. One of them saying, well, all of them saying we will not just stand by and watch you take our village and ruin it. We may be new to the village, but we will defend it. Them all just laughing, saying these 4 kids think they can beat us. And the mage using ice actually sends nice shards towards all of them. And one of them shouting ice magic, ice barrier, as a nice barrier springs up in front of the villagers and the other 4, well, and the other 3, because the mage used ice maker magic. One of them says, "Nice work, Grey," and he says, "Thank you." 1 minute. Okay, I am back. Sorry if that took so long. I was doing a lot of things, and I couldn't get back to doing this from where I last left off. The ice mage named Grey said thank you for the compliment that he received. And this is where Asta, Lucy, Noelle, and Magma fully arrive. The same thing happens in canon, but obviously with a lot more people there. And Noelle actually gets a sea dragon's cradle. But in this, Asta and Lucy are inside, while Grey and the other 3 mages are on the outside. And yeah, Asta notices that all four of them do not have grimoires, and they are actually pretty strong. Though they need to work on their a few of them need to work on their stamina, because he noticed only one of them wasn't huffing and puffing like a train. Choo choo. And he walks to the edge of Noelle's sea dragon's cradle and just plunges his hand through the water, grabbing plunges both of his hands through the water, grabs 2 of the mages, one teenage girl, or who is 13, and one who is 18, and pulls them both through at the same time, both of them giving off a little scream as Grey turns around along with the other one. Grey says, "Wait, where the hell did Wendy and Juvia go?" And the other mages who were attacking them said, "Don't lose concentration, boy," and hit him and the other mage, who both get soccer punched straight into the water and actually go through it. Them seeing that they're actually behind a water bubble, then noticing that Juvia and Wendy are actually in there as well, next to a boy with grey hair or silver hair. I'm just going to say grey because, And both of them get up and say, "How did we get in here?" And not that. So Asta just says, "Well, for starters, you two got punched into here. I dragged these two through with my own hands." Juvia, obviously speaking in third person, saying Juvia only wants and would like Gray to touch her, which makes Asta look at her a bit weird, saying, "Are you mental?" or something. Then Wendy speaks up, saying, "Please forgive her. She speaks in third person. She doesn't speak as she usually does. As normal people, she just speaks in third person." Asta saying, "Right." And yeah, they ask who they are. Asta introduces himself, saying, "My name is Asta Dragneel," and points over to the others, saying, "That's Magma, that's Noelle Sylvia, our royal, and the other girl is Lucy Dragneel, my sister." All of them sort of say hello. Juvia, Gray, and Wendy say hello, and so does their final member. As she says, "Are you guys magic knights or something?" Because she recognizes the symbol and says, "Because the Black Balls are known for being lackluster in the Magic Knights." Asta just says, "I don't know much about them myself." But he does turn to Magma and say, "Magma, when I tell you to throw your fireballs at me, do it. Just on my signal." Magma sort of says, "Huh? And why the hell would I be able to do that while I'm in this water bubble?" Noelle just simply says, "I can always shrink in it to just kick you out." And Magma just says, "Fine," and walks up to Asta after getting sort of told. And yeah, this is obviously where the diversion of the story happens, because there are quite a few new people. As Asta sort of tells Magma his plan, away from Gray, Wendy, Juvia, and the final person. But we all know who she is already. So yeah, she walks up and says, "What the hell are you two talking about?" Asta just says, "This is nothing to do with you. This is all to do with the Black Balls." And she says, "Well, it has something to do with me now because I'm coming with you. And plus, I noticed only you do not have a grimoire. You're the only one without one, so that means only you don't actually have mana or magic, or you do, and you're just as powerful as us." Asta just says after the display I've just seen, I think I'm more qualified to take these guys on, considering ice doesn't really affect me that much. Lucy just sort of says he's lying, it does. He gets a cold every time he's near it. Everybody's just sort of laughing at him, saying, don't try and lie all the time. Which everybody just gets a little kick out of. Asta just says, oh, shut up. And walks through the water, followed by Magma and a mysterious woman. But we all know who she is. As she walks out and says, requip. As she says, requip Heaven's Wheel. So yeah. Gray actually shouts as loud as he can, saying, Urza, you idiot. And everybody sort of like says, well, in the village saying, oh no, she's at it again. Asta and Magma have sort of been taken slightly back by this, saying, damn, that's awfully revealing, but oh well. Asta just tells Urza to stay back. This is his fight this time. Urza just says fine, but I will step in if I see that you do not handle it very well. Asta just turning around and pushing her back through the water and saying stay in there. Because after I get a power up from Magma, he's getting back in. Which Magma is sort of confused by, saying, Asta, what is your plan? Because you never really got too far in your plan to begin with. Asta just says, wait for my signal, throw all of the fireballs you can at me, then skedaddle back into the safe zone. So Magma gets ready. Asta then runs and jumps and sort of does his little battle thing with the clones and that, because somebody had mist magic and made mist clones. But with Asta's eyes turning into a dragon, into a dragon's eye, well, one of them did anyway, he sort of gathered that one of them was sort of not around, and they gotta go. So guys, once again, it's Insane Gorilla here. Jesus H. Christ. Right, moving on. Asta's little fight with the mist clones from that one guy ended with Asta with his one eye that's turned into a sort of dragon one, turns around and shouts, now Magma, as Magma throws all the fireballs he can. Well, he could possibly send Asta's way, and all the bandit mages sort of like laugh, saying, what the hell were you trying to throw that to? That boy at the back there, or at us? Magma just saying, that's all I can throw at you, Asta. Bye bye, because I'm going back into the safety of our friend's little bubble. The these guys are all yours. As all the fireballs sort of hit Asta, because that was actually his plan. Because, yeah, he had that all planned out. Surprisingly, he plans it out much more than Natsu ever does in Fairy Tale. No hate. But anyway, Asta actually had it all planned. He just couldn't really tell Magma because he may not have fully agreed to it. Sorry. And as all the fireballs hit him, Asta's mark lights up again. This time with the full wing full right wing being completed as Asta actually cracks his knuckles and sort of says that I'm all fired up now, like Natsu does, but in this case he's literally all fired up. Because all the fire got absorbed into him, which actually causes his body to actually light itself on fire, which catches everybody off guard, including that includes Lucy, who didn't know that her brother could do that. So as Asta lights himself on fire, he then charges at the rogue mages. He has a full-out brawl with them, eventually taking them all down. The same thing happens in the anime and in the manga. Jesus Christ, what are we on? And they all take their own lives. And I'm going to say one of them there were actually a lot more rogue mages than those four. Two of them actually two of them skedaddled out of the village and left. Austin not really picking up on this because he was too distracted with the four in front of him. As those two make a getaway and go back to their little hideout until their little boss of sorts that there was a group of magic knights that turned up, deceived the village that they were at, and one of them could set themselves on fire. And from their point of view, it looked like the fire he was wielding did not even come from a grimoire at all. And this individual saying out loud, interesting, interesting. Perhaps that one is of his blood. Because I know that his blood went missing during our little our little slaughter. I wonder if the kids of igneel are in this time, or not this time, are actually here, alive and well. Interesting. as somebody walks up next to the leader saying, if Igneel's kids are alive, I need to see them. As another one walks up saying, well, those two were very young, they most probably won't remember you. And if I remember rightly, one of them was just beginning to crawl. I believe that was his son who was beginning to crawl. As those two have a small chat, and the two men that were there just said, who is who? As they get told to leave and never come back, as their usefulness has ran out. So those two leave to only be killed off screen. Literally. Because we don't know what happened. And yeah. The final word that a girl said was in her own mind saying, don't worry, you two, Mummy's coming. And if you don't know who that was, it was Fana. Fana, Veto, and can't remember his other name, but I know he took the name of Licked because he thought he was being the reincarnation of him, which he wasn't. You guys know his real name. I'll let you guys know. His name's a bugger to try and remember, so don't blame me if I don't remember it. So yeah, they all go and do their own thing. Asta gets the magic stone, or the stone, due to Nero, who still did follow him, constantly pecking him in his forehead with the stone in her mouth. Asta getting kind of agitated by this and sort of says, get off of my head, and sort of pecking me. Eventually, he sees that there's the stone in Nero's mouth and sort of like says, oh, so that's why you're pecking me in the forehead. And simply just takes it from her. Obviously, Asta doesn't know that Nero is actually a girl, a human girl. So yeah, they all go back to Asta, Noelle, Magma, and Lucy all head off to the Black Ball's hideout, and they eventually get a star. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here, guys, and I'm also gonna say I will most probably start a new What If in the future. What if Asta had the soul power from Street Fighter? But that's up to you if you guys want me to do that or not. So, like, comment, and subscribe.